What is up, Internet world, and welcome back to Accelerate. I'm Mike, he's Ian, and today we're in the 2024 BMW X5. It's a beautiful day because we've been posting a ton of cars, but now we have something different to pay the bills, an SUV. SUVs do well on our channel. Supercars and cars absolutely poop the bed. So thanks for watching our first ever SUV in the last, what it feels like, 2 months. And not any SUV, the almost king of SUVs. Yep, this X5 is the #2 bestseller in the US, up 11% in sales, just shy of the Lexus RX. Yep, that's #1, and this thing is #2, which means this is popular, which means we're gonna get paid lots of money, and I'm gonna go buy myself one of those. All jokes aside, there are 20 other vehicles in this segment, and this bad boy is #2. Now, it's important to note that this is a mid-cycle refresh, so they've changed it up, they've cleaned it up, and they even got rid of one trim. Now, this is the way it goes in trim land in the BMW X5. First up is the S-Drive 40, then you have the X-Drive 40i, then you have this, which is the X-Drive 50e plug-in hybrid. Next up is the M60i. Last but not least is the X5M competition right at the top of the food chain. So today we'll focus on this, a plug-in hybrid BMW that hopefully doesn't break down, #1. #2, doesn't make all kinds of noises when I'm reviewing it. And #3, watch you smash the subscribe button because we need all the help we can get on this BMW X5. I'm in the 2024 BMW X5 X-Drive 50e plug-in hybrid. They make these names so long now, it's crazy. And there's like 30 buttons I gotta hit, but the first thing I gotta hit is turn this fan speed down. I'm in low and it's so loud, and the back is way worse. I'm gonna go into very low, just so I can talk so you guys can hear me. Very low, but then it doesn't give me enough air. I need low, which is one higher, which is way too high. It's just crazy. Anyways, so if I want to launch this thing, turn traction control off on the button, hit the screen, put it in sport. I'm in sport. Pull back for S for S1. Foot on the ground. Let's see how fast this thing is, and go. Ooh. 4.45. Wow, that was quick. Okay, so horsepower and torque. This makes 483 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque combined with this electric motor. Now, it's a 3-liter turbocharged, it's a 6-banger, and this electric motor is a bit of a difference maker because then BMW can market and sell it as a plug-in hybrid, and then obviously pander to the people that just want to use this for all electric range. And speaking of electric range, you can get 40 miles. But you can't go faster than about 80 or 85 miles an hour, and then it goes back into gas. Anyways, let's launch this thing and see how it does one more time. Now, this electric motor has 194 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque on tap. Now, the battery size is 20. Ooh. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. The battery size is 25.7 kilowatts, and with this electric thing, it's doing something funny. Okay, let's get some power here. And go. 4.58. It's got this weird shifting thing going on. It like shifts, but it feels like the shifting is late. It's like I can see it on the dial shift, but then I can hear it about half a second later. It's not as instant as I want it to be. To the front, you've got some changes right here, starting off with these headlights. These headlights do a cool animation. They're a little bit skinnier and they're super cool to look at when I'm standing here. A lot of things going on in these headlights. You have this massive grille. Obviously, it's better in black, but if it's all black, some clients do not want it. You can also get a choice to have this illuminated. You have this front camera over there, and then of course, when I move down into this bumper, it is different than the last version of it. It's a lot more squared off, a lot more BMW M2 in my opinion, just a lot of squares and cuts, and they bring this bumper as wide as they can. A lot of flat spots, nothing protruding out except for this piece right here, which is a massive mouth to suck all the air in. But it's wide. When you see this thing, when you're driving in front of it and you look in your rearview mirror and you see this front end, it is actually pretty scary. Now speaking of bumper, Ian seems to think this bumper looks like the M340i, but for me, I think this looks like the M2. I just think it's kind of the same vibe, a little bit different than Ian's opinion. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Does Mike win that thought process or does Ian? Mike for the win. So whenever you're in a parking lot and you see a BMW and you don't know what that blue little ring around the logo is, that is when it's electrified or a plug-in hybrid, you get blue. To the side of the boxier X5. Check this out, boxy, boxy, boxy. Let's start with the front here. You have 21-inch wheels that are M Sport with the blue ring arounding, letting everybody know that you are electrified. Speaking of electrified, you've got this little badge here. It says electrified by I, not me, I. Then you have this shoulder line like typical BMWs do, but it widens up here when you go into the back doors. And if you look at it from a distance, it does look bulky because of these three lines, uno, dos, and tres. That's said correctly. Then moving back, you have, obviously this is all black trim because this is an M package, so you have a lot of M stuff here. The interesting part about it is that when you hold the door handles in the front, they unlock the doors, and in the back, they don't have these three little lines on this back door handle, but they do in the front. But they do have lights that illuminate from both door handles, front and back. When I move down from there, this is where the gas cap is, and on the other side is where the plug-in hybrid part goes. Now, before we go to the back, I want to talk about the suspension. This does have dual axle air suspension in the front and in the back. Most vehicles are all four corners, but this has individually controlled in the front and the back, all thanks to BMW's brain power behind this X5. It also obviously does have fancy blue brakes because this is an M Sport, a BMW M Sport. But the weird part about it is that on the actual order guide or spec sheet of this exact BMW, it says it has satin trim and a satin roof rails, but they don't look very satiny to me. Am I blind? To the back of the BMW X5. If we start at the top, you will see it has the little shark fin that extends down to this extended upper sporty spoiler. Moving down from there, of course, you have your third brake light and then your typical wiper blade on the back of the lower part of the window. This glass doesn't open up, the whole tailgate does, and we'll get there in a second. But let's focus on these lights. These are halo style design lights. They have an indentation right in the middle that separates the top from the bottom, and it's pretty deep actually, this indentation. It's not like one piece, it's like two separate pieces is what it feels like. Then you have this cool little tiny light that is your reverse light. It is so small, it's not nice and big, it's so small. Now people are grumbling that there's not an individual amber light that indicates left or right. It's actually built into the taillight. It has this funky little animation as well. Then you have the X5 badge, you have the xDrive 50e, and then of course the BMW badge with the blue ring around it, letting everybody know that it is electric. And if you want to hear what this electric SUV sounds like, take a listen. And then moving down from there, you have this wide rear bumper that has this flat design just like the front, especially on this lower valence section there. You have exhaust tips that are not black, but they are legitimately real. The exhaust is hidden right behind it, and you can hear it. And then of course you have a winch. That's normal. All right, Spartanburg, North Carolina. Let's see what you got. Whew, nice seats. These seats are massaged, they are fancy, they got leg extensions, a lot of adjustments, a really soft headrest. Okay, so let's start with the door panel. You've got black on the top, white in the middle, cool ambient lighting down the sides, heated armrests. Yep, this BMW X5 has heated armrests standard. You've got acoustic glass, you've got a big heads-up display, you've got a 12.3-inch screen there, and you've got a 14.9-inch screen there. It is touchscreen, it is cool. You can adjust the heat on your bum and your back individually. You can move how much heat you want to adjust for perfect comfort. Of course, you have memory seats, you have two of them. It's really weird, this BMW X5 has two, memory seat, and the Porsche 911 behind me has three. Very strange. It does. Also, of course, you have Harman Kardon sound system because this is super fancy. You get a BMW steering wheel that resembles the same one as all the fancy sporty BMWs. This is definitely not a truck SUV steering wheel. This is a sports car steering wheel. Of course, it is fully powered adjustable. There's no manualness in this. It says M right on the bottom. You do have aluminum pedals as well. And again, the big change for me is the screen. The screen is big. It's 2023 all the way. And then of course, if you do want to party in here, like all our Club AMG Mercedes products, you have this X5 that you can change all the colors in here to make it feel more sporty, especially when you hit the drive modes. And to add to the coolness of ambient lighting, you can also change the lights in here, but more specifically, the sunroof. The sunroof has this cool lighting feature, and that you can see by all these little dots. They're actually not dots, they're little tiny, I would say, they're four sides and they look kind of on a parallelogram. Can somebody answer that? Okay, there's parallelograms on the ceiling, but they actually go from big parallelograms to really small ones that appear like dots. So if you guys know what I'm talking about, comment below. From there, moving down, you have the vents. They're not big and bulky. They're actually very tiny and streamlined. Anyways, down from there are no more buttons. They've cleaned it right up. There are buttons, but not a lot. There's the volume knob, then there's the track before, track after, hazard lights, and then of course the defrost in the front, and then defrost or venting in the back. And then from there, you have this big tray that I can slide back. That exposes my wireless charger, my USB, a 12-volt plug, and then a cup holder that is cooled and heated for the driver as well as the passenger. Let's move on, closing that thing. Then you have no more big, tall, lanky shifter. It has been replaced by the same thing that Porsche uses to shift gears. You've got reverse, neutral, drive, and sport. It's just this little tiny toggle that goes back and forth. It really cleans up the center dash, and it makes sense to me. But then there's the buttons here. So this is where the buttons kind of activate. This is where all your sport modes are, how to start the car. You have an EV battery button that you can hit there, and of course, all the modes for your iDrive right on the screen. And then you have your suspension button because this does have dual axle suspension. So up and down, I can lower and raise it. And then of course you have your auto hold and your electromechanical parking brake. From there, moving back, you have your cargo space that's pretty weak when we talk about the center console here. Pretty weak for an SUV that's number 2 in sales in North America for space, especially when they love their minivans. So you've got your nav, your Apple CarPlay, which I'll show you in a second, telephone, personal assistant. This is cool. Look at that. That is the same color as the car. That is awesome to have. It even has this chromy satin grille. Then you've got your temperature and of course all the rest of the stuff. That doesn't really mean a whole lot. The two things that mean something is obviously Apple CarPlay, but more importantly, the battery portion of this BMW. So there's a battery button right here on the center console. When I hit it, it tells me that I'm in battery hold. This maintains the battery at the exact same charge. Then underneath it, you have sport, hybrid, electric. So if I hit the electric button, it lets me force electric, so it's all battery. That's cool. I can set it up all right here in the center console. So let's get back to the main menu. Voila, Apple CarPlay looks like this. When I hit this, that's how big and wide it is. I love that it uses all the screen. Now, when I put the car in reverse, this is the exact screen that you see. A lot of buttons to play with here, especially on the right-hand side. But a cool feature I like is when I hit more, check this out. I have a 3D view and I have the exact same color of the car. That to me is key. I hit all these little buttons here and I can see all the way around the car. Now, this is a big trick in my opinion. They've started doing these years and years ago, but I find that nobody really uses this part to see what does my left rear rim look like when I'm trying to park fairly quickly. Nobody ever uses this. They hopefully use their own skill or just use the rear camera all by itself. Back to you, rear view camera. All right, back seat. Let's feel you out. Weird. Feels a bit springy on the bottom. There's something I can tell you right off the bat that I don't like. Seats. They need to fold 60/40, okay, got that part, but there's something else. You guys notice? It doesn't recline. Yep, this price point, it should recline. And it doesn't slide backwards and forwards. That part I can kind of understand, but it should really recline. The Q7 slides backwards and forwards and reclines. This one is fixed. That's no good. That's no good to me. Anyways, door panel. You've got these blockers. You have, come on, we can do it. There we go. Then you have cool mix of materials here. You've got that white leather, you've got the stitching that's in sort of a dark gray, and then you have that sort of wood style material, and then of course you have your ambient light. Now, these seats are weird. All right, so let's talk about the armrests and the cup holders there. That's pretty typical BMW. You do have heated seats right here, heated seats here. They're not ventilated. You have a little bit of storage underneath above your HVAC controls. And then you have 2 USB-Cs and a cigarette lighter for 12 volts. And then behind it, you have space to put your MacBook Pro because, of course, you have money and your kids are rich. And then you have little spaces here where you can put inserts for a TV and a USB-C per side. Cool, and you have this nice big sunroof. This is very BMW-ish. Now let's go ahead and open up the trunk of this X5. This X5 has a split trunk, basically like a 70-30 style vibe. You push this button down and you have this. This is amazing because you can sit on it, but also lets you put stuff in the trunk without actually opening up the whole tailgate. Now, if you look in the back here, you will notice one thing and one thing only. There is no third row. Yep, people are mad. X5, no third row. So much room do we have as far as depth? You have 39 inches deep. And then as far as width, let's see what you have. You can see how squared off it is. It's very, very clean in terms of that design. You have 43 inches, so 43 inches wide. That is good to know. Let's put this bad boy up. That's hard to do. Let's see if it's powered. I'll hit it. Come down. Yes, you are. And let's hit it again, see if it goes up. Yes, you are. There's a button also here. When I hit it, it should drop the air suspension. It's making a noise. Are we going down? Yep, we're going down now. Drop to the ground floor. I always say I like to live my life on the second floor, not the ground floor. Anyways, nonetheless, I hit the button. This folds down again. Let's see what we have underneath here. Let's lift it up and we have a nice hydraulic that pushes it up. A little bit of storage here and of course, stuff to change your tire in case you get a flat. But then again, you're rich, so you don't do that kind of stuff. Now, while I'm back here, it's interesting enough that there are some X's on either side. X to let everybody know it's an X5. But this X5 doesn't do something a CX5 does, and that is fold the seats down. There's no handles here I can pull the seats fold down. CX5 for the win. All right, let's whip around this corner here. Still feels heavy. Now the battery is on the bottom of the car, so a little bit of slip and slidey. It is good, actually. It still feels top heavy. But it's crazy because BMW X5s used to be so stiff, and this thing is so soft. It's like domestic soft. I mean, it is built in Spartanburg, but when I say domestic soft, is German cars were always just stiff. The SUVs were stiff, but people complained year after year after year of BMWs being too stiff in the X5 specifically. So now they've made it so soft in sport mode, which is kind of wild. I feel like it should be soft in hybrid or electric, but being soft in sport, like it's very soft. It's too soft for a BMW in my opinion. Anyway, other than that, besides the performance part of it, I feel like performance cars now, especially at this, volume space, is just not performance at all whatsoever. It's just all marketing fluff. It's like a fancy drink, but nobody gets to drink it. We just get to look at it, and that's exactly what this is. It's like it has all this fluff, but it doesn't really have any specific purpose. It just looks good. Cool key, though. So for all you people that say this is not the M60i like Ian, this is the M50i or xDrive 50i with an M Sport package. I will push the button to make it what we all want to enjoy, and that is all electric. So I will take it out of sport because I'm not allowed to put it in electric when I'm in sport. I will get out of sport. Okay, get out of sport. Okay, hybrid, electric. Okay, electric not possible due to system. What kind of system? Hybrid. Electric not possible due to system. Well, I have 6 kilometers of range. Let me put stability program back on again. DSC on. Now it works. That's weird. I should just be able to press a button and it should automatically, disable or enable stability program. So I'm an all electric. Okay, here we go. It's a lot of roly-poly. This is very comfortable though. Very, very, very comfortable. Yeah, it's actually too comfortable because when you look at it on the outside, you're like, this thing must be stiff as hell. Look at how big those wheels are. Look how aggressive this car looks, or SUV looks. But when you're in it, you drive it, you're like, this is so smooth. This is the smoothest BMW I've literally ever driven. This feels like the 7 Series. Doesn't it? It feels like a 7 Series, eh? Let me ask you. He's in the back hiding. So, doesn't it feel like a 7 Series? Just get in here, man.
Never been in a 7 Series.
Oh, too bad. But this feels like a 7 Series. It's very comfortable. If I was selling these things, I would just only put an electric in the softest mode and tell people like, it looks amazing and aggressive on the outside, but it doesn't actually drive that way whatsoever. So it's like mastering the look, but being super comfortable inside. Because when people are in here and you're talking, you don't want to be jumping around and bouncy and crazy. You just want to be calm and be able to hear each other. But that doesn't happen when you have this type of fan speed and the vents not being big enough.
Start it up.
But let's get back to how comfy it is. These seats, amazing. They're soft in every way. The front ones specifically, obviously. They're so soft and they have this really soft headrest. It's so nice. These are great seats. Now, let's test how easy it is to put this vehicle in cruise control and keep me in my lane. Because all smooth and comfortable cars need to have this feature. So I gotta press this button to activate cruise control. Driver assisted driving activated. Am I getting the lane center? Oh, it's lane centering. Very good. Oh, hands on the wheel. I get these little lights telling me I have to put my hands on the wheel. Please place hands on steering wheel. Perfect, that's great. So the other thing about this car is it has really small side mirrors. Very small, actually. They look very sporty. They don't look like Dumbo ears whatsoever. They're very small, sporty. And if you're not a driver and used to having a big car and big mirrors, this is just not gonna work. You need to have bigger mirrors. You're gonna find yourself doing one of these to actually get more like range extension from a visibility perspective. And as far as blind spots go, no, it's really good. No issues there. Yeah, this is not the first X5 video I'm sure you've watched, but I'm pretty satisfied with the drive. Oh, take over steering immediately. Perfect. I'm back in action. So I just pulled in this parking lot, and I will say that the turning radius is excellent. And even when I'm on the throttle, just pulling out of there, you can hear that one of the wheels just spin to try to grip, but you don't feel it in the car whatsoever. You just hear it outside. So all those little things you'd notice in older product, but in this thing, it's so smooth. There's so much electronics that it does it all. So again, buying this thing for 20 years thinking you're gonna get no problems with no electronics, that's probably not gonna happen. It's one of those things that people just keep cars 3-4 years. Once they're out of warranty, they get rid of it because there's lots of tech in these things. Foot to the ground, let's go electric. So the total cost of this exact BMW X5 plug-in hybrid is 107,000 Canadian dollars. Now in Canada we have something called luxury tax, so everything over 100K you have to pay luxury tax on. And if in fact this one does qualify, which I assume it does because it's over 100K, I don't know the exact nitty-gritties of it, but if it does, that's quite a bit of money. So if it was me, I would probably buy one just under 100K, lose some of the options, maybe including that front emulment grille and maybe the M Sport package, because I don't feel like it gives me all the things that I really need to have. But all in all, really, really smooth. This is definitely a great replacement if you're coming out of a minivan as an example. Obviously it's more money, but it's perfect for that. It sits at the right height, it looks good. It definitely drives as soft as some of the most luxurious minivans out there. And yeah, at the end of the day, it is a BMW, so you can get servicing anywhere. So I hope you guys like this review on this 2024 BMW X5. I'm sure we have something fancier in the future when it comes to an X5, like maybe the X5M, but we are getting an X6. So make sure you guys subscribe, check out our channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.